Good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm wearing the same fuzzy I had on last night because I threw it on because I got cold and I needed a fuzzy and it was there. We are continuing with Read With Me sessions of Someone Exactly Like Me by me, the author, Debbie Cromack. So welcome. This is your first time here. I hope you enjoy tonight's reading. I go for about 15 minutes to keep them kind of, brief enough that I don't lose everybody's attention. We obviously will go with the PG-13 version, so I don't lose my my access over on TikTok again, because apparently I was a little too spicy and they weren't too happy with me and they took away my access. Is that you out there, Kelly? I thought I saw your little face pop up. I don't know, the icons are so tiny. So we are continuing with Read With Me sessions of Someone Exactly Like Me with Nicola Mancini and Destiny Cardone. They meet at a time when they make a deal, and Nicolo is looking to take his career from Italy. He's an actor. He's a famous actor who has skyrocketed to fame following a very saucy character that he played in a very saucy movie. And he now wants to bring his career over to America and build the American dream, but he doesn't have representation over here. As it happens, Destiny Cardone, our heroine, is a successful best-selling romance author who's in a little bit of a slump in her career, and her mother happens to have connections in Hollywood. So they strike a deal to help one another, and as the terms of their deal play out, they start falling in love. There's some ups, there's some downs. There's it's a lot of fun, good, slow burn romance, and that is the story that we're reading. You can get this on Amazon. It is available obviously in paperback, also in ebook, and free to read on Kindle Unlimited if you happen to be enrolled in that. You can also buy signed paperbacks from me for $15 in the domestic United States. If you want international, shipping's outrageous, but we can always talk about that. And you can get that on my website at debbiecromack.com. So let's get started with tonight's reading. Happy New Year, Angel. There you are. How are you tonight? Thank you for bearing with me while I finished up my dinner. I was doing my year-end expenses and I was trying to get them completed before I started on this tonight. So, all right, let's go into the chapter. We will start off from where we left last night. We are in Destiny's point of view. Before we leave, I turn to face him. Back in LA, you asked what my parents do for a living. Yes? My dad is retired from the CIA and he has connections. I didn't give him any details, but I emailed him last night to see if he might be able to find Anna and your child. He steps back from me, covering both sides of his nose with his hands. Can he do that? He can try. I didn't want to go any further without your permission. I pause. There's no promise that he can find her. Is this something you want me to ask him to do? Clasping his hands around the back of his neck, he paces left, then right. He stops in front of me, holding my shoulders in his large hands. I can't decipher if his expression is that of hope or fear. Yes, please, he shakes his head. I understand if he can't find her, but I would be so grateful for him trying. I smile and nod. I'll email him when we get back to your house. He takes my hand in his and we go back to his motorcycle. The drive back home is just as stunning. Ocean for miles, the fiery sun blazing in the sky above us, my body wrapped snugly around him. Then we have a little bit of time gap. Together we agreed to eat in again. Since it's an early night, we decided to make lasagna and garlic bread. We stop by the store on the way home and only get the essentials since the bags need to fit between our bodies on the motorcycle. When we arrive back at his house, he turns on some music and starts immediately on the preparations. I go to my room and enter and email my dad. When I go back to the kitchen, he's started the water heating for the noodles and is working on the sauce. I grab the cheeses and start on the cheese mixture, then the garlic bread. I've never cooked dinner with a man before. It's kind of fun. He's quite entertaining to watch, the way he dances to the music as he stirs the sauce, stopping every now and then to sing into the spoon like a microphone. I can't help but smile at him. The cheese mixture is done and the garlic bread is ready for the oven when the timer dings. Let me start that one again. The cheese mixture is done and the garlic bread is ready for the oven when the timer dings, telling us it's time to strain the noodles. The strainer's in the cabinet above your head, he says, as he shakes his hips to the beat, stirring the sauce. I open the cabinet and see it on a shelf above me. Stretching out to my tiptoes, I reach up as high as possible, but can't touch it with my fingers. As I bring down my arm, he's at my back, extending his arm easily above me and taking it off the shelf. A shiver runs up my spine. He sets it on the sink and dumps in the pot of noodles in boiling water. Steam billows into the air and he ducks his head out of its path. On the counter near the sink, he's laid out parchment paper. As he goes back to stirring the sauce and gyrating his body. Am I still on? I'm gonna get kicked off. I hope I could say that. I wait for the steam to settle and lay out the noodles on the paper. With the last noodle laid out, we're ready to begin our lasagna assembly. He places the deep dish in front of me on the counter, then puts a pot of sauce on one side and the bowl of cheese mixture on the other. Then he tucks himself behind me. Every time he's this close to me, I'm not going to say it. I'll do the sauce and cheese layers. You do the noodles. Okay, I say, trying to ignore how flustered I am. He spreads a layer of sauce on the bottom of the dish. Methodically, we build the layers, our arms grazing past each other several times. I can't stop the goosebumps from trailing up my arms at the touch of his skin on mine. He loads on the final layer of sauce, then reaches for Parmesan cheese. The stale smell of smoke enters my nose as his torso presses into me. A few sprinkles of cheese and it's ready for the oven. I move out of the way and he takes the dish, putting it into the oven. Turning my back to the counter, I suck off the tiny bits of sauce that got on my fingers, fold my arms and watch him. I love that he cooks, not that it matters. When he rises from putting the dish in the oven, he stands in front of me, resting his arms above me on the cabinet. My inhale quavers as I release my arms from across my chest, laying them on the counter as I look up into his dark, seductive eyes, framed by thick, bent brows. What should we do while we wait? He asks, glancing from my eyes to my lips. The memory of our kiss shoots to the front of my mind. I remind myself that this is a business trip as my eyes drop to his full lips and my pulse pounds in my head. Breathe. I tear my gaze away from him and look at the mess on the counter. We should probably get this cleaned up. He nods slightly, but doesn't move. After a few breaths, he takes a deep inhale, then moves back from me. I'll have a cigarette first. He grabs his pack of cigarettes, then goes out to the patio, blowing an exhale. I start cleaning up. I'm not sure how much longer I can resist his subtle, what can I say to replace that? You'll probably get the point. When he comes back in, he puts the garlic bread into the oven and helps me finish cleaning the kitchen. I wash the dishes and he gets a towel and dries them. When you're not busy flying around the world, making films and singing in concerts, what do you do for fun? I paint. You paint? Yes, you seem surprised. Not surprised, impressed. You're very talented. What do you paint? It's abstract. Beautiful monsters. Beautiful monsters? What does that mean? People are beautiful, but sometimes we also have monsters inside. When I paint, I bring the monster to light, he says, putting away the last bowl. Many of the paintings in my house are done by me. Really? I've wondered about his choice of wall decor. For me, it's dark, ominous, sinister. Empty faces atop distorted bodies, debauched features of a face entangled with devil horns and hair that drips like blood. Hearing his explanation, I'm starting to understand the artwork now. Yes, some are gifts and a few I purchased, but most are my creation. I wander through the living room with a renewed perspective, taking my time and as I examine the pieces. Though they disturb me, they also reveal his pain, which makes me hurt for him. Once I've circled the room, I sit next to him on the sofa. Was Anna one of your beautiful monsters? She was. She haunted me every day. She was a reminder to me that I'm a monster. He pauses. Now, because of you, he takes my hand, encapsulating it in both of his. My chest is lighter, and she no longer haunts me. Eyes locked on mine, he raises my hand to his lips and kisses it. The timer chimes on the oven. Will you paint with me tonight? He asks, releasing my hands and getting up from the sofa. Oh no, I'm not artistic in that way. I'm better with words. You're brilliant with words. Come on, I'll help you. He turns, looks back at me and smiles. I'm not prepared for this compliment. Okay, I'd like that, I say, getting up and joining him in the kitchen. How about we sit out on the patio tonight? Of course. We dish out slices of steaming lasagna, and he puts the loaf of garlic bread into its own plate. Before we head out to the patio, he changes the music to something less, I don't think I can say that. I'll just skip the word. His patio is peaceful with shrubbery that must be 20 feet high. Pulling out cast iron chairs, we set our plates onto the mosaic tile work that tops the table. As we eat, we talk about our trip to Ponza Island tomorrow, and he tells me about a few things we can do. After dinner, we clean up together, and he takes me down the hall past his bedroom to a fully dedicated painting room. Taking an easel from the corner of the room, he sets it up back to back from one where he's in the middle of a piece. He grabs a blank canvas from a stack and sets it on the easel, then walks over to a long table that houses dozens of colors of paint. Taking a paintbrush out of a large carousel of brushes and a wooden painter's palette from a small pile at the end of the table, he comes over and hands them to me. Create anything you like. If you get stuck, tell me. I'll help you. Use any of the paints you want. He gestures to the table of paints, then walks over to a music tower and turns it on. I stare at the blank canvas, a little intimidated. It reminds me of the days my cursor blinks at me on my screen, begging me to do something. Then the vision comes. I know exactly what to paint. Palette in hand, I walk to the table and squeeze paints onto it. Red, orange, yellow, white, black, several shades of blue, brown, and a tan color. I also grab a few more brushes of different sizes. Though I have no idea what I'm doing, I allow the vision to guide me. He's busily painting away. As I swirl the paints together on my palette and brush the colors onto the canvas, I get wonderfully lost. More than an hour passes. Consumed by the scene I created in front of me, I don't hear him approach me. It's beautiful, he says, standing close to my back, looking at my canvas over my shoulder. It's the beach from today. Our beach. A sentimentality washes over me as he says the words. May I add something? Of course. I step aside and he takes a palette from my hand, dipping his brush into the black paint. Delicately, he dabs the canvas, creating two shadows, one taller than the other. Setting down his brush, he stands behind me and wraps his arms around me. Us, he says, kissing the top of my head. Ah, my heart. Now it's complete. May I see yours? He releases me. Of course. The image is representative of a female with a large face and huge blue eyes, but no other facial features. Her breasts are lopsided and her torso curves down to her feet. I'm going to skip some of this. Some kind of white ring is above her head. As I gaze at the picture, he trails his finger lightly down my back. My shoulders squeeze together and his touch on my bare skin. I suck a quiet inhale. Does it frighten you? His breath is hot against my ear. No, I breathe. It confuses me. My eyes want to see the face. He traces his finger back up my spine, and again, I respond, slightly arching as I close my eyes. He presses his lips softly into my neck just below my ear. My chest rises and falls with my labored breaths. Have I been booted off yet? I don't know if some of this is going to fly, you guys. TikTok may cut me off. I wrap my arms around my waist. He follows with one arm, pulling me to press against him. Laying feathery kisses, he moves slowly down my neck, holding my jaw gently up and away with his other hand, elongating my neck. I can't stifle my gasp when his lips reach my collarbone. Pulling away from him, I heave an exhale and try to catch my breath. I glare at him. Why do you resist me so much? He shoves his hands in his pockets, then tilts his head down and to the side, looking up at me. To teach you that you can't just take what you want. My momentary desire shifts to frustration. I know you feel something. I can see you respond to me. We're going to skip that sentence. We're going to skip that. Whether or not I feel something, right now I'm mad. I'm not a prize you get to win just because you're intolerably hot, I bark. Crap, that flew right out. A devilish grin turns up the corners of his mouth. So, you do think I'm hot? He steps toward me, closing the gap between us, scorching the air. I don't move. I want him close. I want him to fully feel my next words. The only reason you want me is because you can't have me. I turn on my heels to walk away. He grabs my arm, pulling me to him. Holding my shoulders in his hands, he stares down at me, nostrils flaring, eyes boring into me. His eyes move from mine down to my lips like he's going to devour me. Curling his lips inward, he sucks air in through his nose. I'm not one of your conquests, Nico, I say softly, holding his gaze. I know that. He pauses. You could never be. He pauses again. You're unattainable on every level. Stifling what sounds like a growl, he releases me. Going to my room, I close the door and throw myself onto the bed. This is agony. Why did I agree to do this? What was I thinking? While refusing to be intimate with him, all I want is for him to consume me in every way possible. Just the thought of having his hands on me, we're going to skip that. And the more we're together, the more I learn about him, the deeper he seeps into my heart. I'm falling for him, but I can't. I just can't. I won't. I think it's a good place to stop. I think we are, people do use the F word constantly on here. I know, but this is more not really like curse words. This is the other stuff. So that's where we're going to stop for tonight. And oh my gosh, we're up to chapter 22. We will start chapter 22 tomorrow night. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Let me know in the comments if you are. I would love to know that. And if you're enjoying your time here, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would love to have you join me here a little bit more frequently. So that's it for tonight. I will close up shop and I will see you tomorrow night. TikTok, you guys stay with me. Hang tight.